Hello, everybody, and welcome to, this is the 4th episode of Untitled Project, the podcast. I'm your host, Mario, and today I have a guest.
Hi, I'm Shane Ardinger. I'm the fourth most important person in Mario's life, I suppose.
Wow, usually I introduce the guest by name, but I guess this man needs no introduction.
Yeah. I was under the impression I was number 2, but...
That's all like scheduling and stuff.
Yeah.
You got back to me a little too late.
So who beat me in for the...
Who?
For top 3?
He hasn't been on.
Buck
So
just uploaded.
Yeah, that's gonna... I always say that. I'm like, this may or may not take the episode, or this will. This first episode went up yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like it turned out great.
Yeah, I liked what I watched.
And you haven't watched the full thing.
I watched 20 minutes of it.
Well, it's more or less the full thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 30 minutes, right?
It's like 33.
Yeah.
Something like
yeah.
It's a 30 minute. So yeah, that went up yesterday. It has like, I don't know, 11 views.
Yeah.
It's more than nothing.
Yeah. It's got 2 comments too.
Yeah, I think I know who those are from too.
Yeah.
Steve.
Actually, no.
They're from you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Sinner Degara is an anagram on my name.
But I looked at the profile and it had like Steve's picture on the banner. Or at least it looked like him.
Who do you think took the picture of Steve?
Damn, you're right.
There's 2 people in every photo, at least.
At least.
If it's of another person.
Yeah, I can see that.
There's the guy who took the photo and then the guy in the photo.
Damn, let's go back to the second episode. You're going to blow all the stoners' minds.
Whoa.
So yeah, I had Buck on for the first episode. I'm not sure if you know them, but I had Tommy and Deese on for the second episode.
Nope.
Yeah, you don't know them. And then I actually recorded the third one yesterday with Will Price.
Will Price?
He was on and he brought his friend Charles French.
Okay.
Yeah, that's actually the first episode where we moved location, and we had it at the Portable.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, that was definitely interesting, to say the least. That also brings up like a really interesting question. So I uploaded this first video. I have to edit the second one, and we're recording this one, so later I'm going to have to edit this one.
Mm-hmm.
But the second episode is complete. It just needs to be uploaded.
Yeah.
Now, should I upload it next week, or should I upload it next month? Because if everything goes accordingly, and nobody like cancels or anything, by Monday, I will have recorded 5 episodes, one of which is online.
Mm-hmm.
The second is fully completed, and then the 3 will either be will be recorded and need to be edited.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Personally, I'm a big fan of the seasonal structure. Okay. So you record these 5 and then take a break to finish the next 5, and then after maybe a month or 2 you upload the next 5 and keep it going like that. Okay, and that keeps it evolving and allows you to prepare for growth. There's visible growth every season.
Right, so you're saying something along the lines of, like, do these 5, put them out there, like, once a week, and then take, like, a month break.
Mm-hmm.
And then come back.
Yeah.
That's actually an option I never really considered, to be honest. I thought I would either, like, looking at it realistically when I first started out, I was thinking, realistically, I'll just record them, upload it once a month, like, I don't know, the first Friday or whatever. The dream would be to record it live once a week, with most podcasts and all that stuff. But I actually never considered, I never even thought about that. That's actually, now that there's like a third option on the table, I have a lot more to consider now.
Yeah.
So, thank you for that. It's definitely...
Yeah. I mean, doing it live is important, and I strive that my podcasts to do some of them live. there's also podcasts that I'm making or plan on making that need a more narrative structure that will require a lot more editing.
Mm-hmm.
But for a podcast like this, there aren't really time restrictions, so you can take your time and do it good. And there's always going to be the people that watch it live, but the majority of views come like within that week of people that can't listen to it live but listen to it after.
Yeah,
and then
that I feel like I fit into that like demographic.
Yeah.
Like every single time I see, I do listen to some podcasts. Like I listen to Will's podcast, Peaches and Meme.
How many episodes is he in?
I think currently has 4.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's funny. The one thing is that I watched or listened rather to the first 2 and the 4th one, and I couldn't listen to the 3rd one because, I mean, no offense to like Will or how he operates or anything like that, but the audio.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not sure if they had like something was off with the mic or if they were too close to it, but it just sounded bad. Like like I really wanted to listen to it. I mean, hell, the title of it's Dating C-3PO, not clickbait. So that grabs your attention really quick.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was just. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Will. I just couldn't
That red
listen
herring.
to it. But anyway. But with like a live podcast versus yes, I listen to that. I don't think he does his stuff live.
Yeah.
You know, he like takes time to edit and stuff, but with the ones that could potentially be live, like the Rooster Teeth podcast, which is one of the sources of my inspiration for this, they do it live, and then
but they started with the drunk take, and the first few episodes of that were edited; they weren't live.
Right.
And it takes time. And H3H3 is another big podcast that's live. And then there's other live ones, like ones about Bigfoot or whatever, that just, they go live, but they don't have that many viewers. And then there's the Stuff You Should Know Network, where everything's professionally done. And that none of that's live. And they also get views. But the question is more about the product you want to put out.
Right.
My products, I listen to podcasts personally. I listen to a lot of them. But the H3H3 and Rooster Teeth, that just saga week after week.
Right.
Where they're at like 600 episodes. That's just so bad to jump into. But the Stuff You Should Know, the Behind the Bastards episodes, there's a lot of them. There's not nearly as much as H3, but there's just weeks. But the weeks are separated into different episodes of the same people.
Right.
And then I'll just binge watch all these people are related and that. Okay. Or I'll listen to the Somebody Knows Something. And I'll binge listen to those. I said watch, but really it's listening. And personally, I'm a binge listener, and so I am going to make my podcast available to those. So the 5 episodes you listen to this season, you just binge it, and then you can take a break, and then you binge the next 5 episodes.
I completely understand with what you're saying with that, because I binge listened to Will's podcast, you know? It was also because, like, the next day I was having him on. And I wanted to, like, you know, listen to some of it so we can talk about it. And then later I can be like, oh, well, here, you can plug your podcast and whatnot. But yeah, I completely understand that. Now, with that being said, he only has 4 episodes currently at the moment. Which, it's not too hard to binge listen to. Except for the 3rd, I guess. Sorry, Will.
Yeah, fuck you, Will. I haven't seen that kid in a minute.
Maybe we can arrange to have both you guys on. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, actually, since we're talking about people who are going to come on, it ended up not working out. But what we were trying to do is we were trying to have a spontaneous special guest for this episode. and that was supposed to be Steve-O.
Steve-O, the one and only.
You know, I was trying to get him to come on so that way it's like we would be in the middle of doing this and then he would just walk in, but that ended up unfortunately not working out. I do want him on at some point. That's gonna be a crazy episode.
Yeah. If I ever run for office, Steve-O is going to be one of 2 people I have to buy off to ensure that his videos of me never leak out.
You don't want Culinary God getting out there?
Hell no. No Culinary God, no JoJo's.
I still haven't seen Culinary God, and I want to watch it so bad because I hear all these crazy stories about it.
Disgusting. I still can't be around raw eggs. They make me gag.
See, like, you say this, and it's funny as hell, but I have no context to go off of. That's why I really want to watch it.
I mean, you were with me at Ocean City, Maryland, just so y'all know, where Mom started baking something and she started cracking eggs, and I had to leave the room. I went and sat outside for like 30 minutes.
I remember this. I was wondering what the hell happened.
I heard the shell, and I was like, oh.
Oh, that reminds me of the story. You know, because you were there, and I'll give you a little hint as to where I'm going with this. Would you know what story I'm talking about if I was to say, my lock-picking skills are unmatched?
Yeah, I do. It was fucking cold.
No, it wasn't.
It was.
It was during the summer.
Was it during summer? I thought it was winter.
Yes. No.
Because
we went to the mall.
Mm-hmm. We walked to the mall, and I got that Christmas present for Lexi.
No. Because
that was the year Annalise went down. That was her Christmas.
This was before her. This is when German came with us.
I thought they came the same year.
No. Annalise was way after.
Annalise went down 1 year, but she went down twice. Okay. Okay. I still know what you're talking about. It might have been summer, but I still think it was winter.
It was summer.
I'm pretty sure it was winter. It was the first time I went down, and that was a winter.
No, because we've been down before.
First winter we went down, it was chilly. It wasn't cold. It was like a week before Christmas, and it was 60 degrees out. So we walked to the mall.
Right.
How much of that do you think it missed?
Probably not too much.
Okay.
Like you'll see it in the third episode if you decide to watch that. Like that compared to the second one, I was a lot better with getting up and checking it. Yeah, I'm still trying to. What would be amazing is if I had somebody who would like help me out with this that would run camera.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. Like, somebody did offer like, hey, if you ever need an extra hand, let me know. And I was like, do you know how to run a camera?
Yeah.
And they're just like, nope. It's like, okay.
Well, you could teach them. All they have to do is push the button.
I mean, that is completely true. And then after that, I did say, okay, are you available these days at these times? He was like, no. So.
Sorry, champ.
Yeah, sorry, dude. But, I mean, I do want to tell that story, but at the same time, I guess we could just wait from when this is going out 2 weeks.
Yeah. That works.
If that happens.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a story for another time.
Yeah.
Tune in to like, I don't know, like the fucking.
Let's just put a pin in that.
Yeah, right.
That should be the name of the podcast. Put a pin in it.
Put a pin in it. Oh man.
Have you selected a name for the podcast yet?
I don't really know. You know, I mean that's kind of the running gag is that we don't have a name here. But at the same time, it could always change. We don't know.
Yeah. I think you should call it group therapy.
Group therapy?
Yeah. Because you keep having groups on.
That is weird. It's like the first episode only had one person.
Yeah.
The second and third had 2 people on it.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm back to having 1 person.
Mm-hmm. And in 2 weeks, you're going to have 2 more. Me and German. Assuming German's plays ball.
That is true. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing with this podcast. It's like, whenever I have a guest on, I always ask you, when are you, the guest, available? What time works for you? What day works for you? Even what location works best for you? Because this entire setup's portable.
Yeah.
I could easily just pack everything up, go to wherever we need to be, and shoot there and stuff. That's exactly what happened with the 3rd episode. And I kind of like that.
Yeah.
That it's really, it's not much of a hassle whatsoever. I mean, I'm recording from a camera and a microphone, and that's it.
Yeah.
The real hassle comes in is I guess trying to get people on, which is, it's not too big of a deal, but that is definitely an issue with it, because so far 2 people canceled on me without saying anything. So without even letting me know. Which
people are unreliable. Yeah. Especially in the beginning of podcasts where they don't realize that.
Right.
It's so tight.
Right, yeah. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
This was way before the first episode came out. I'm pretty sure this was before I recorded the first episode. That also reminds me, probably after this, I do need to start asking people who were interested what day they want to come on.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Remember, kids, war is heck. Send nudes, not napalm.
There you go. And I feel like if I was to title these, because right now they're just episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, that sort of stuff. I feel like if I was to title them, this one would be Send Nudes, Not Napalm.
Yeah. I'd call it Behind the Scenes, On the Scenes.
Behind the Scenes, On the Scenes.
The first 20 minutes we just talked about.
Yeah, pretty much.
How podcasts work.
Pretty much. Damn, maybe that's... No, I'm not... that doesn't really fit as a title.
My favorite part of making stuff is thinking of the title, so...
Yeah, I do too. I like to finish the work and then come up with a title for it.
Yeah. I like to come up with a title and then make something around it.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. Maps with Saps. That's one of my podcast ideas.
Maps with Saps?
Yeah.
What's that all about?
I hope nobody steals it. So I pick a specific part of a map. Okay. A specific geographic location. Mm-hmm. So in Maryland, I could do the lower wetlands, Hashua area.
Right.
Or I could do the hills or Appalachia. And then I take trees, or I start with the foliage indigenous, and then the herbivores that feed off of them, and then the carnivores.
So you're kind of going up the food chain.
Yeah. And then I talk about which animals are there now that didn't used to be, which are indigenous, and which are alien, and the invasive species and the effect on it. And of course I'll have a guest on because it's going to be a comedy.
Okay.
And then I just do that.
Huh. To me, who's a nature lover and all that shit, I actually found that kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd listen to that, especially if it's comedy.
Yeah. If there's two things I love, it's geography and maps.
Not comedy.
That would be the third.
Okay.
But if they had a cartography class, or not class, but cartography major at UMBC, I would take it 100%.
Really?
But they don't, so I'm taking pre-law.
Huh. Taking pre-law?
Yeah, media and communications with a minor in pre-law.
Huh. That's interesting. Let's see, as a law boy.
Law boy.
Law boy.
Well, I gotta know what they are before I break them.
No, you don't break them, you bend them. That's the whole thing.
Laws are very rigid, in my opinion.
They're very rigid?
Yeah. I'm a very constitutional human being.
That's why here in the show we're very pro First Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So sorry to all those people who might get offended, or people who just will get a little offended, or who are a little shocked at first when they like watch or listen to this, but fuck it. You know, like I'm sure that there may or may not be some of my family members who might listen to this and be absolutely baffled because I don't really curse around my family. Like even if I have, I really censor myself.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure you like do the same around certain people.
War as heck.
Yeah, but on here, we don't give any shits. No fucks given. Yeah.
Just straight up Mobamba.
Mobamba.
Fuck shit, bitch. My name's Shay A, and I get really rich.
Oh god. Okay, well this is going to be a little bit of a throwback to the second episode, but since you brought that up, what do you think of today's mumble rappers versus the previous old school lyricists?
I do not have a problem with it. Music evolves, and I think that people that say that mumble rappers aren't music are just old curmudgeon people that don't understand what music is. They are a product of their environment, and we make music based on our situation. I relate to Lil Peep. You might not, but I relate to a lot of his music, and he speaks to me, so I listen to a lot of Lil Peep.
Right.
I listen to fucking Pink Sig. Both of those can be considered mumble rapper-ish.
Okay.
I listen to Lil Xan. I like Lil Xan. And even if he doesn't like Tupac, I love Tupac.
Right.
I know there was that drama around that, but I love Tupac. But it's his prerogative of who he listens to, and it's my prerogative of who I listen to. And no old bastard is going to tell me that what I listen to isn't music. Because if I say it's music, it's music. I like mumble rappers. I like Lil Pump. I listen to Lil Pump a lot. I liked XXX. A lot of people don't like Extension, but I like him. I relate to his music.
Yeah, I feel like kind of veering off the topic of like rap music in general. It's like 9 times out of 10 whenever I'm around you and you're playing music, or if I like get in your car and you're dropping me off somewhere and you're playing music, 9 times out of 10, it's the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
I do like them. I do play victim to stereotyping people in my car where I'm like, he looks like he likes the Chili Peppers. So I'll pick a playlist that has some with you.
Right.
If it has the Chili Peppers on it, it's going to have Pearl Jam on it as far as my playlist goes. So I've probably played a lot of them around you.
Okay. Right on.
I just have playlists for general type of people. I have mumble rap playlists. I have early 2000 raps playlists, mid 90s playlist. Kind of goes into that. Okay. I have my Ice Cube playlist for when I'm riding with German.
Okay.
He loves them. Fucking. We were driving home from Ocean City, and I was playing Gangsta Rap Made Me Do It. And he was just singing along, having a blast. And at one point he answered, he goes, "That's fucking awesome!" And I'm like, "Have you never heard that song before?"
That's great.
And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I love that song." And I'm like, "Ain't nothing to it."
I think
Ice Cube is one of my favorite rappers.
Ice Cube is great, you know.
I didn't listen to his album that came out last year, but
he had an album that came out last year?
Yeah.
Jeez,
that was my response to it when I heard about it too.
What? He dropped it out?
Yeah.
Since when?
I do listen to a lot of Lil Peep and a lot of XXXTentacion.
I think the majority of music that I've been listening to lately is what is known as lo-fi hip-hop.
Dude, I love chill hop.
Yeah, chill hop. Yeah.
Lo-fi hip-hop. Have you ever heard of Bootleg Boy?
The
Bootleg Boy? So. He's a channel. He's really good.
Okay. I'll definitely check that out when I'm editing this.
This podcast officially endorses the Bootleg Boy. And the Bootleg Boy 2.
We're gonna have to talk to our finance...
We say we like it. We aren't gonna give them any money. We ain't got no money.
Yeah, no, we don't got any money to give, and nobody's giving money to us.
Word.
Please sponsor us.
Sponsor us, Bootleg Boy.
or any company.
Mm-hmm.
Well, any company that has a decent reputation. We'll take it.
Doritos. Sprite. We're looking for sponsorships. Gotta crack a delicious Sprite every once in a while.
See, we could totally advertise on this show.
Deer Park, the dirtiest bottled water there is. Looking for advertisement.
You want to try doing on this? It's got a crab on it.
Turvis. We love blue crabs. We're Marylanders. You already know that.
Crabs are people. Legit or quit.
I don't know about all that, but Mother Nature. We have lots of plants on here.
Yeah.
What brand's that laptop? Vans. We got Vans.
Vans.
You're getting screen time. Little kickback, please.
There's a lot of
ooze.
Tag and fucking vapor.
Fuggin'.
This one that's in the center that I covered up is Slaughter Apparel. This one used to say I Heart MPT, but I covered it with the Van sticker. And then, yeah, there's more Vans and stuff. And then there's more stuff here, but you guys aren't going to see that.
I have a Van sticker on my laptop, too.
Anyway. That reminds me. With my old laptop, I put, stickers on it.
Mm-hmm.
What I also did was, I remember I was like drinking tea, and on like the little tag for the tea bag, it had like quotes from different people, and I think it said, if you like see true beauty in nature, like you're an artist or something like that, and it was by Vincent Van Gogh. So I just took like some pieces of, like clear tape and stuck that on there.
Yeah.
I did that. I also did, what was it? It was like that like ring that's on a cigar. Yeah. I like took that off and taped that on there because it looks cool.
I recently was at the Chicago Institute of Art, and I saw Van Gogh's paintings in the blood, and they're so much better in person.
Oh, I bet.
Like you can see the brush strokes. I just love it. I love art museums.
Oh, I do too.
The BMA, amazing, in Baltimore.
I haven't been there in the longest time.
The Walters,
do they
beautiful.
At the BMA, do they still have that stupid fucking rectangle that's made out of fiberglass and it's just bright yellow? Because it's like, when I used to go there...
I don't go to the modern art sections.
Yeah.
No offense.
Whenever I go to a museum, I try to at least go to like at least every section of it. But yeah, like I remember when I used to go there, and I went there like, I don't know, 5 times or something, and every single time I fucking went there, it was this giant fiberglass rectangle that was just yellow. And it was just leaning against a wall, and there was a little plaque next to it, and I'm like, that's fucking stupid as shit.
I can't remember if they did it. They did the spider web. That's a new one. That's pretty good.
Web.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Like crystal wires, and they made a spider web.
No, that seems pretty dope.
Yeah, and then you leave that room and go into this dark room, and then they have the spider the web is based off of that has... It's in a glass box, and it's just the actual spider web.
Not the spider, though.
I can't remember if the spider's in it or not.
I wouldn't think so.
I think it's like a...
It would die with something.
Not like a sealed glass box. Not like a vacuum clean box. It's just like a fucking glass box. But I think it's
That's pretty dope, though.
Stuffed one.
A stuffed spider?
Yeah, stuffed spider.
So they have this actual like spider's web, and then right next to it is this like toy stuffed spider.
It's not like it's like was a spider, but then they like stuffed it. Like people have the deer heads.
Taxidermy.
Taxidermy. That's the word I'm looking for.
The funny thing is like if the video cuts out, I have no idea. During that, I'm just gonna like make that and stuff. Like you said, you saw the first episode and how that happened and stuff. I did a lot more editing with the second one.
Yeah.
Which is pretty interesting. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like just making like film, and I'm not sure about music because I've never made music, but like film and podcast and all
I'm
that
working
sort of
on
stuff.
music right now.
Oh, right.
Music and podcast.
Okay. But yeah, I don't find it a pain to edit. Most people do, and
I like editing.
Uh-huh.
I hate shooting.
I like both. You know what I really don't like?
Or I don't hate shooting. I hate setting up to shoot. I like the act of shooting, but just the logistics of getting everything there and getting everything ready.
Okay.
I don't like busy work. I want to do what I can see in my head. And I hate planning out videos.
Oh, see now.
That is what killed me in our video production class.
Really?
If Hooper would have just given me the benefit of the doubt and let me explain it to him, and then, because I explained all my videos in great detail to him, but then he's like, all right, write it all on a piece of paper. And I'm like, if you know what I'm going to do, why do I have to have a paper trail? Why can't I just do what's in my head? Because I can see it vividly right here.
Right.
I know the image. I
know
know what the camera's going to shoot and how I'm going to shoot it and what I'm going to shoot it with.
Especially for people who like are into making videos and photography and all that stuff. You know exactly what we're talking about. You know, it's all about taking that image and that story that's in your mind and putting it into the physical world.
Yeah.
And then like trying to tell that story and stuff.
Do you ever watch Jenna Marbles?
No, I do not.
She's got some funny stuff. My girlfriend watches her a lot.
Okay.
And fucking her boyfriend is a hardcore Aries. And they're like all into that. And there's doing this thing called Aries season. And they make compilations of just Julian being in Aries, and it's pretty funny. But I do want to steal one of his video ideas where he went to a convention and went out with his friend and got a random tattoo. So I want to get a friend, and then we design tattoos for each other, and then we each pick a random place and then go and get a tattoo at that place.
Oh, that's interesting. Huh.
And I know you're thinking, that sounds like the Tap Me Up or whatever it's called on MTV. But no, it won't be, because we aren't fucking assholes that want to ruin other people's bodies.
Right.
We're going to design something that they're going to like. We hope they're going to like. I'm not going to get it until my album sells 1 million and I start touring, but I really want to get a face tattoo.
Oh, why?
Because tattoos, most of them are put on your body permanently. And they're like a form of expression. This I want on my body perfectly. But your face you can't cover up. So it's the ultimate form of that expression. Because everybody that looks at you is going to see them.
I just feel like the only person who was ever able to pull off a face tattoo was Mike Tyson.
The only reason he's able to pull it off is because people are too scared to call him out. Because he can literally kill you with a punch.
Pretty much.
But
it's like
it's my fucking body. I'll do what I want.
Yeah, that's completely fine.
And if I think this is the ultimate form of expression, I am going to do it. Because it's my expression. It is me.
Yeah. There you go.
And if I end up putting "fuck you, Mario" right here, that's my prerogative. It's what I want to do. It's my expression.
Have that across your forehead?
Yeah.
Did you actually know that there are companies out there that'll tattoo you with their like logo on your forehead, and you'll be paid as like a walking, living, breathing billboard for them?
Shit, I do that shit.
But it's like you have their logo smack dab in the middle of your forehead.
My professor,
Uh-huh.
alright, Dr. L, really annoyed me with this. And I made a meme about it.
Okay.
2 months later because I was so annoyed. But he set it up so, alright, you get a free car. Every year you get a new lease. It's free. Doesn't cost anything to you. You can pick the car and you get the new model of it every year. And if that car ends up stops being produced, you can switch over.
Okay.
And you get free insurance and you get free gas. Just free transportation, costs nothing to you, but you have this dope car. If you want a Z3, fine, Z3. If you want a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, completely free.
Right.
Maintenance, everything's covered.
Okay.
But he said that you have to put a tattoo of them somewhere visible. Now, me thinking tattoo, I assumed it was a face tattoo, but he just meant like legs, arms, shoulder. That's visible. Yeah, I thought he was talking here.
So if you have it on your chest,
yeah.
You could never wear a shirt again.
Yeah. No, like, if you just got it on your arm, you'd be fine.
And if
long sleeve shirts don't matter, it still counts.
Well, that beats the whole purpose.
But, dude, let me fucking finish it.
I'll let you fucking finish.
I thought he was talking about face tattoos. So, I raised my hand, and I was the first one to do it, and he calls on me. And my first thing that came to mind was, can I double up, like get a Mercedes and a BMW right here? And he looks at me so disappointed. And he's just like, and that's why I don't ask that question anymore. Because your generation, and he goes on this rant, and I'm like, what in the fuck?
What, just about face tattoos?
Yeah. No, just about selling out your body, getting a company logo on you for profit. Dude, seriously, if I had a Tesla, a fucking nice BMW, and a nice Mercedes, I'd never have to work a day in my life. I could be an Instagram fucking car guy.
Alright. You're just here in my garage. With all this
knowledge. Knowledge. 3 years ago, I was just sleeping on a couch with no podcast to my name. Then one day I got up. I read the book every day. All that knowledge. Oh, shit.
Damn it, Andre, I told you to put your phone on silent.
I did. I just turned on the music, though. That's not my fault. That is my fault. But it's just a meme.
That's fine.
Knowledge. At least it didn't vibrate.
That is true.
Fuck you, Buck. Love you.
You heard it here first. Man.
Like your bike.
Oh, yeah. You can't... He got a bike and he's paying loans on it. Can't even drive it.
Yeah, can't even drive.
And get the license first.
I'm gonna be getting a Suzuki, just like road bike, roadster, not roadster. That's a fucking like what Buck has. A Suzuki, just like regular bike, like Harley. I want to get a Harley, but not for my first bike. They're too fucking expensive.
Right. And
the Suzukis are just made for new riders, the ones I'm looking at. Like, they have rubber lights, so if your brake light hits something, it's not going to break off immediately.
It's interesting.
It's just made for, like, beginners. And it's good. I like it. It goes fast, zero to fast real quick.
That reminds me, I'm still kind of, like, debating whether or not I want to get a one-wheel. What?
You're going to buy a unicycle?
No, not a unicycle. A one-wheel. Do you know what that is?
A uniwheel? Or a unicycle?
No, because a unicycle is man-powered.
Yeah, but a unicycle with an engine on it's just called a unicycle.
No, because you can sit on a unicycle. You can't sit on this thing.
You can't sit on it? So you're just going to look at it?
No, you ride it. It's like a skateboard, dude.
I want to get a gasoline-powered Razor scooter.
It's that thing.
Oh, don't get that.
Why?
Because you don't want to be that guy.
Sure, yeah.
It's ugly, dude.
No, it's not.
Just get a motor for your bicycle.
No. What? No.
Yes.
Okay.
Fine, put a motor on your Razor scooter.
Here's the thing with, like, the one wheel. First off, it's all terrain. You can't say that about a bike. Or a bicycle.
Hear me out.
Okay.
BMX.
Okay, can you ride a BMX bike on the sand, no problem?
Yeah. They make bikes for that. Bicycles for that.
Specifically for that.
Yeah.
I'm talking, this thing could easily go from pavement to grass to gravel to sand.
I'll have to see it to believe it. You take that thing out to the dunes on Kill Devil Hills, it's going to get bogged down right quick. It's too heavy. It's too heavy.
Their newest one is like their smaller, lighter version. So that's one I would think about getting about.
One that was made specifically for that?
It's like they made it so that it's their lightest, it's their smallest, it's their cheapest, and it's also like kind of like you said with the bike you're thinking about to get. It's like the one that's like for beginners, and you can introduce anybody to it and not really be worried about it, because the things with their other ones.
You need to be worried about any motorcycle. You could die real quick on a motorcycle.
That is
it's
true.
Dangerous. Like.
Yeah, that is true.
I never said that it wasn't dangerous.
Well, I didn't either. I mean, there's like that huge debate about motorcycles, whether they're dangerous or not, or whether if it's like if.
And any motor vehicle is dangerous. A car is dangerous.
That is true.
A motorcycle is dangerous.
Like every.
If you put a motor on a unicycle, it'll be dangerous.
Like even with that thing, it's like the thing you mainly have to worry about if you're just not stupid enough to stand up and balance.
Mm-hmm.
But what people end up doing is that they'll try and hit the top speed of it, which for some of them is like almost 20 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So it actually has this interesting mechanic in it to where, like, the way it works is, imagine a plank, and you lean one way and it goes forward, and you lean the other way and it slows down and stops. Mm-hmm. Well, what happens is that you start leaning one way and go forward, and people will try to make it go faster and faster and faster to try and hit that top speed, but they have like fail-safes for that built in. So what will happen is that it'll start to lean back, but people can easily just keep leaning forward when that happens, and they do it, and eventually what will happen is that fail-safe is like, I can't take enough of this. And it gives out, and because all their weight is leaning forward, the nose of it just falls to the ground and they get flown off of it. That's just because they're stupid and trying to hit the top speed like an idiot. But anyway,
what if they're being chased by a clown or something? You don't know. They could be running for their lives.
Do you think a clown can run like 15 miles an hour?
Briefly.
Do you think a clown can run 15 miles an hour for...
How fast can Usain Bolt run? Look that up real quick.
Can I say what?
Look up how fast Usain Bolt can run.
Usain
Bolt.
Usain Bolt. Like his top speed? Or?
Yeah, top speed. He's faster than Cheetah. So it's faster than 66 miles per hour.
Damn, his net worth is $60 million.
Dang.
Let's see.
Alright, so when Usain Bolt's redlining, how fast is he going?
His top speed is 27.79 miles per hour. Or
I was way wrong.
Or 12.42 meters per second, or 44.72 kilometers per hour.
I think most people can go 20 kilometers per hour.
This is 44.
In a life or death. Yeah, and most people could do like half of them.
Probably. Yeah.
Well, maybe not most Americans, but most people on Earth.
So long as you're a reasonably healthy human being.
So not me, but other people.
Yeah, not me either.
I got a car for that, man.
Yeah, right.
Speaking of, how do you like your car?
Oh, I love her. She's beautiful. Yeah. She's my beautiful black baby girl.
You have suede seats?
No.
Leather?
No. I don't want leather in my car. That shit gets hot. My car gets hot enough already as it is.
Well, my car gets hot too, but leather seats cannot be beat.
Yeah, but if you sit in a leather seat when your car is really freaking hot because it's been sitting in the sun all day, your skin is going to get fused to that shit.
I only wear jeans, so I don't really have that problem.
Too. Why you're telling me you always wear long sleeves?
Yeah, almost always. Some kind of flannel. I roll up the sleeves. Plebe. It's ROTC did that to me. JROTC.
Rolling up your sleeves.
No, just always wearing multiple layers of clothes.
Yeah. That always happens to me during like the winter time and the fall.
Yeah.
Springtime, it depends. It depends how light my clothes are.
You wear shorts in winter and jeans in summer.
No, I'm not.
There's always that one kid.
I'm gonna cut this, Alan.
Yeah, Alan. Red. Dude, do you remember Kyle's going away party when he got in the pool and steam was coming off the top of his head? Yes. Dude, that was so funny.
Oh, jeez, God. It's like the first time you're introduced to him, this guy will pick you up onto his shoulders and fireman carry you and spin as fast as he can. Like,
I love Alan.
That guy is a carnival ride, and
he still has my Magic the Gathering cards.
I'm sure he does.
I just forgot him there on Halloween and never went back.
That's a game I don't think I could ever get into, but one I really do want to get into is D&D.
Yeah, I have a few D&D books. Right. I've been looking for people to get into it. My one friend, Dylan, we call him Pickles because he's my dill pickle.
I felt like I've heard that name before.
He wants to get into a D&D game. Yeah. But it's hard to get everyone around. One good way to do it is Discord. A lot of people at UMBC use Discord.
But then how would you, like, I don't know, determine roles and shit?
Audio calls. Video calls. You have audio calls and video calls, and you can also type.
That's true.
So the Dungeon Master calls stuff, and then you just type in what you do.
Right. So it's kind of built. If at least you're doing like an audio call, then it's built really upon the honor system.
Yeah, the multiple levels of communication helps with complicated games.
Yeah, that is true. Like, I'm just thinking, like, how could you prove a dice roll in something like that? But I guess if one guy...
If it's on video.
Yeah, I'm talking, like, if video isn't, like, really an option.
Oh, no, they do the video one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Discord has a video. It might be a different software, but whatever.
I'm not sure. Okay.
So we've been going for, what, an hour, 10 minutes?
An
hour?
We haven't hit that hour mark for the audio recording, so it's going to be... right now it's at 58 minutes, so...
Okay.
With, like... all the stuff we're cutting out, it's going to be shorter, so... Yeah. More likely, like, 45, something like that.
Alright.
Yeah, so... Do you want to keep going, or do you want to, like, wrap it up?
We can keep going. I mean, it's all up to you. You're the editor.
I mean, it really doesn't matter to me. For most part, it's, like... I just sync up the audio and video, and then...
Well, how long are your first 2 episodes? Buck's like 30 minutes?
The first episode is 30 minutes. The second one is like an hour and 45 minutes. We went for a long time with that one. I can't exactly remember what the third one is. I have like a rough edit. Yeah. Which means I've synced up the video and audio and stuff. Yeah, but I haven't cut anything out yet. So I'm not entirely sure how long that is. Okay. Right, yeah. Yeah, that reminds me. Another thing I hate about editing is when you think it's all done, so you export it. Especially with, like, podcasts and stuff. Yeah. It takes, like, twice the amount of time of actually how long it is for it to export. Like, with that second episode, I had to export it at least 5 different times because... I would have to go back and make changes, and then I would have to fucking listen to it, and then go back, and cut a thing out I didn't really want in there, and this, that, and the other thing.
That's pretty
just
rough.
a pain in the ass.
It is.
But it's worth it. You know, I mean, exporting is the easiest part. It's just sitting back while you do something else, and just making sure it doesn't cancel on itself. That's pretty much.
Yeah,
That
I like it.
That's the easiest part.
So what editing software do you use? Final Cut?
No, I
or
don't.
do you use an audio software?
I do it on DaVinci Resolve.
Okay.
Yeah.
I use Adobe.
Like what Adobe?
The Adobe Suite.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Reason why I got Resolve is because, you know, with any editing software, when you first like boot it up, it's like, okay, well, where the hell is everything? How do I really work this out? But like without watching any like tutorials or anything like that, I was pretty. It's you know, it's pretty easy to kind of figure it out and stuff. And also you can do you can set certain key bindings. So, for example, I'm used to like Final Cut Pro, that sort of stuff, because I used it for a semester while I was at the tech center. So you can easily have it to where the key bindings are set to be similar to that of like Final Cut Pro, or like the Adobe softwares, all that stuff. With Resolve, when you export, you can choose so many different options. Like you can have it set to where you're exporting it for YouTube at 1080p. You can do it for, I think I saw Vimeo at one point. You can have it like customize it yourself. You can even just do the plain audio itself.
Well, right now with my podcast, I'm focusing on just audio, and then I'm going to add in video later.
Okay, right on.
Because most of my stuff's linguist based. That video isn't. It's like dialogue based. Video isn't a driving factor, and really, if you're just listening to the audio.
So Buck sent me a message or a picture of the first episode of the podcast, and he put a caption saying, "Does my voice actually sound like that?"
Yeah, it does.
Yes, it does. Surprisingly. Yes, it does sound like that. Surprisingly, it's a little weird at first. And look who I've got on.
Yeah, I was just texting you. It does sound like that.
Yep, there you go. Anyway, that's good sense.
But yeah, it's. I don't know. I just feel like the connection you make when you only hear dialogue is better than it's not more connective, but the relationship between only hearing dialogue and then hearing dialogue and video. Because when you're stimulating two senses, one ends up getting drowned out. And usually in this TV and movie culture, the sound gets drowned out by the video. You focus on what you're seeing. So the audio, if it's just audio, you can focus more on it. And it has a better, for lack of a better term, I'm going to use connection, but you just have a more personal connection with it. And you're free to imagine yourself what they're talking about.
One thing that when I was coming up with like this whole podcast, when it was just like an idea and stuff, and I was presenting it to the producer of it.
Who is the producer?
It is Gloria Rose.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a very sweet, swell woman, and I'll introduce you to her afterwards. Anyway, so she pretty much ended up saying, because I was like, I'm thinking about, making this podcast, and she didn't really exactly know what the hell a podcast was. So I explained it to her, and I was like, so I can either do it to where it's like just an audio-based type, or have it to where it's video as well. And she brought up the point of like, people don't really want to listen to something for like an hour. They'd rather watch something for an hour, like a movie. You know, I mean, could you imagine listening to the audio of a movie for, you know, like an hour, 2 hours? Isn't
I disagree with that. When was the last time you sat down and watched a movie?
It depends on what you mean by like sat down and watched, because, you know, Netflix exists.
Yeah.
So I'll like sit there with my laptop in my lap and watch a movie on that.
Yeah. And are you doing anything else at that time?
Not really.
So you're just watching it on the computer?
Pretty much, yeah.
All right. Well,
at least for the most part.
I find in a few studies that I've read that have come out find that people, especially with me, I do this all the time,
Mm-hmm.
they're on Netflix, but they're also on Facebook, Twitter. They have The Office running in the background.
Right.
And they're listening to the audio because they're playing Xbox. They're listening to the audio because they're doing homework, or they're doing this, or they're hanging out with friends, and it's just in the background.
Right.
And when you're focused on other things, like Twitter or homework, it's visual based, and they're just listening to the audio. Now, they're only getting half of the story. They're only getting half of their senses
Right.
when they're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So the full story of The Office
Mm-hmm.
isn't being told. I'm using that because that's what I'm watching now.
Mm-hmm.
I've had episodes on in the background, and I hear something, and it's just silence for a while. So you need to go back and rewind to see what the joke was, because it's visually based.
Right.
Now, think of rock opera, American Idiot.
Okay.
You get the full story out of that, and it can be adapted to a Broadway play,
Mm-hmm.
or it can be adapted to a movie,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still the main sense that they're getting from it is audio. It's audio driven.
And for like people who I guess
Yeah.
don't know what that is,
Yeah.
another good example is War of the Worlds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because that started as like a radio,
Mm-hmm.
like story time talk show
Yeah.
type deal.
Yeah.
And now there's a movie based off of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the movie's actually pretty loyal to the audio play. I don't care what people say.
I think it's.
But
Mhm.
but that sense, when you're in the car, you're driving, you turn on the radio, you're listening to it in the background. So, my podcast, you're in the car,
Mhm.
you're tired of hearing the same goddamn songs on 98 Rock,
Right.
on 97.3.
Right.
All this trash you just hear over and over again.
Right.
And it's great,
It's like
but
they
it
play
gets
the
old.
Same 3 fucking songs
Yeah.
over and over. Yeah.
So you listen to me and my friend teach you about what's indigenous to the upper lowlands, or the upper badlands, or the upper lowlands of Illinois.
Right.
And
Like I've definitely done that to where it's like, you know, I'll listen to like, I don't really listen to the radio. I'll like pull up, I don't know, like Pandora or
Mhm.
SoundCloud or sometimes even Spotify, and I'll use that to listen to music. But sometimes I'll just be like, you know what, I really want to listen to music today, and I'll put on, I don't know, like the Corridor Cast,
Mhm.
because they had their landlord on, or something like that. But I definitely see exactly with what you're saying. However, if somebody was to be listening to a podcast, and I don't know, somebody like knocks over a water bottle and they react to it like, oh shit, what the hell?
Mhm.
People who are just listening aren't necessarily going to understand what happened. And then somebody later would be like, oh, well, so-and-so knocked over their water bottle,
Mhm.
and that sort of stuff. But if somebody's watching it, then they could instantly understand that.
Mhm.
You know, they see it happen, they see the reaction, and they don't need an explanation because they're watching it.
Mhm.
You see kind of what I'm trying to say with that?
Well, my response to that is, when I watched the first 30 minutes of your podcast, the first one you put out today, do you think I was...
yesterday, right?
you put out yesterday, do you think I was on the couch watching the podcast, or do you think I was on the couch listening to it on my phone?
With that being said, because I probably know the answer, that is why there are two versions of it. There's the video version of it that's on YouTube, as well as an audio version that's on SoundCloud.
Which is lacking in the exposition. Or not in the audio or the visual exposition that you would just talk about if somebody knocked over the water bottle.
Yes.
But
I haven't gotten used to that.
if the visual is taking out and somebody knocks over that water bottle,
then
you can
that
cut it and you won't have to cut the video.
Right.
If you're lazy, or if you are a decent host and somebody knocks it over while you're going to help them do it, you aren't going to wait till it's over. You're going to narrate as it unfolds.
And that is something that I do need to work on, you know? Because,
Yes.
like, earlier you were showing me pictures and stuff, and people who are listening, they're not going to understand. But with, like, people who are watching, they're going to get, like, pictures that pop up and stuff. But for the people who are listening, they don't have any visual context. They just hear our reaction and stuff.
Yes, but in the description of SoundCloud or on your website or in the description on YouTube, you can give them links to view it if they want to. If they want to see what we're talking about, they can see it, or they can just skip ahead. Or they could just listen through it and be like, that was kind of dorky, but who cares?
I mean, with the way that I edit it, it's like none of it's really uncut. With editing and stuff, it's like I'll get that rough cut in there where I sync up the video and the audio, because I don't take the audio from the camera. I take it from the microphone that's on the table. So what I'll do is I'll sync those up, which helps with like the clap sync, but whenever the camera cuts out, then it becomes a little, tedious, whatever. That happens, doesn't matter. So I sync it all up, and then what I'll do is I'll start all the way from the beginning, and I'll play it, and it usually starts with that clap sync. So I'll start it there, and that gives me enough time in between from the clap sync to where I start the introduction, to where I can do things like the intro for the first video. You saw like there was music, the logo faded in, it faded out, and then it started. With the second episode, it's a bit different to where the logo and the music, fades in, it fades out, and the video and the audio from the podcast fades in. And that's how I'm going to have it from now on, because I like that. And then, I go through it and I cut out, stories and what people say out of it that don't need to be there and all that sort of stuff. And once when all of that, all that rough cut is done, then I go in and I get creative with editing. I'm not sure if you if you were watching it when the video cut out with the first podcast, but every single time Buck would say Sergeant Ruff, a picture of this dog came up, Bark. Yeah.
That's clever. I like that.
Yeah, so that's what I do whenever the camera runs out, and if there's enough time, if it's a short amount of time, I'll leave the logo up. But if it's for long durations, like probably what it's going to be like today, then I'll add in a bunch of pictures and kind of give it a little bit of context. With the second episode, spoiler alert, I guess. Somebody said that this was Cyborg from Teen Titans.
Yeah.
Yeah, this thing. So what I ended up doing was I photoshopped Cyborg's face onto there and took a still image from the video of this. And that's that when he was saying that was during a duration when the camera cut out. So we didn't get all those reactions and stuff. So I do that instead. And that's just kind of how I do it. However, what ends up happening is once when it's all said and done, and it's been looked over by my producer and all that stuff, I'll export it, so that way it's the video portion is finished. Then I'll open a new file in my editing software, put that into it, like, you know, because copies and stuff, and I'll cut out the video. And I'll export just the audio. So it's like the exact same length.
Yeah.
Everything's the exact same. It's just that now there's no... you don't have that visual representation that goes along with it.
Yeah.
So that's how I, you know, do it. I don't cut out things from one that aren't in the other. You know, they're both exactly the same. It's just one has video, the other's just audio.
Okay.
You know?
That makes sense. I guess the disconnect between me and you would be that I'm very pure. I'm a purist when it comes to audio podcasts. I think that podcast should be audio.
Right.
One example I'll use is Somebody Knows Something is a popular podcast. It's a Canadian detective that goes back and tries to solve unsolved cases from in Canada.
Okay.
And Helen Betty Osborne was Indigenous, I think that's the term he uses in the video, woman of Canada that was murdered, and he goes back and visits it. And in the first 5 minutes... Yeah, it's a podcast. Okay. In the first 5 minutes, he's walking to a memorial for her.
Okay.
And you can hear the leaves crunching, and you can hear him breathing because it's kind of off trail. And then you can kind of hear him describing, and there's wind in the background, and he gets up and he describes it, and he talks about what it means. It's the 3rd episode. And even though there is no video there, you can see exactly what he's talking about. So, you can imagine you're there. You can see the autumn leaves on the ground that you stepped on.
Right. So it's more, like, even though it is a podcast, it's more of a audiobook.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay.
But audiobooks are just narration. This has...
Not all the time.
In my experience, audiobooks focus on narration. It's narration driven. But podcasts, at least they should be made with music. They have music, they have room tones in the background, they have things added in. You can go in and add this, and you can have pictures and stuff on a website or somewhere where it can be found. But I think that the best form of a podcast is an audio podcast. I think that when you aren't focusing on the video aspect of it, you can do so much more with it just inherently. And you don't need to lend the audio to the video. You don't need to lend the video to the audio.
Right.
Like, if you're making a music video and it's going off of a song, and then, but let's say you're doing just like a TV show.
Okay.
The best music videos for a TV show that you make will have dialogue from the show in, and they say that over the song.
Right.
So it's like they're one-on-one. They're together.
Right.
But then the show suffers with only a little bit of dialogue, and the song suffers with dialogue being put over the song. But you're there for the music video. The music's the optimal thing, but it suffers from that dialogue.
Got you, okay.
But if it was just the song, the song would be 100%. It would be how it was made and intended to listen to.
So, yeah, getting back to what we were discussing, I mean, I do agree with you, as well as disagree, but with that being said, that is why I do have 2 versions of this podcast, you know? my original plan was to have the two versions on YouTube, where one was the video with the audio, and the other one would just be like my logo, and then it would just have the audio.
But I'm gonna cut you off there.
Okay.
I don't mean to be rude.
No, it's all fine.
But we are and have been talking about this podcast in the video and the audio. That's how we've been referring to it. We've been referring to images and all that for the entire length. So just right off the bat, even the audio suffers. Because for this image to be complete, it needs the video and the audio. The way we've been talking.
Right.
But when you are just doing audio, you talk like the person can't see. You're describing it to that blind person.
Got you. That kind of... This is going off topic, but that reminds me of... there was this guy who... He used to see perfectly fine, and then he became blind, but he has this channel. I'll have to see if I can find it so I can put a link in the description, but it's really interesting because he like has these videos on his YouTube channel where he describes things to blind people. Like, imagine if you couldn't see, how would you describe to a blind person what the color red looks like, who's never seen it before? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I just found that fascinating. And I'll try my hardest to put, like, a link in the description, but it was just, like, mind-baffling. But...
And, yeah. Just going off of that, the best I could do would describe the feelings brought on by colors. Red would be warm. Blue would be cold. But it's impossible. And that anecdote, or whatever it was, reminds me, there's this kid at UMBC. He's 22, and he's completely deaf. But he is one of the best whistlers I've ever heard.
Really?
He went deaf a few years ago, but before he was deaf, he was in the choir. He played guitar, he did rhythm, and he can still do all that stuff great.
Right.
He plays guitar, he feels the vibrations in the guitar, so he knows when he was off or whatever. But he can't tune it because he's deaf, so he has his roommate tune it for him. And he's good at whistling. Like, I think I'm pretty okay at whistling. This dude blows me out of the water.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know exactly how you feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Trying to whistle that. It's
Chillville.
Yeah. There's an actual name to that song, but everybody knows it's like the Kill Bill whistle, or the whistle that's from.
I'm whistling Chill Bill.
Chill Bill.
It's a song. It's a hip hop song.
Oh, okay.
Isn't it called?
I can't remember what its actual name is, but it got its fame through whistling.
Yeah.
From Kill Bill, and now it's in like American Horror Story.
Yeah.
You know, but
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
I feel like it was the whistle part of it. The melody was taken from a song. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. What was interesting is that Quentin Tarantino, who freaking love the guy.
Genius.
Yeah, absolutely. He had the actress. I can't remember if it was watching a movie that had the song in it or just listen to the song, so that way she could whistle it in the movie, in Kill Bill. But it's like his... I don't know, it's like the way he like dictates how his actors are like equipped and prepared to do a scene is fascinating. Like, you could easily just have it to where, you know, let's say you're like, I don't know, low budget or whatever, so you have somebody listen to a song, and then it's like, okay, you're gonna whistle that to the scene, let's go. But he had her like prepare like weeks in advance, you know. I find...
And practice shows.
Yeah, I find, like, I don't know, we're both into film and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
So we both find it really fascinating. Other people are like, I don't really just care. I don't give a shit.
What have you ever seen the movie Heat?
Heat.
Al Pacino, Robert De Niro.
I don't think so.
It's really good. I love it. It's
Right.
a 3 hour. There's bank heists in it. There's theft, murder, espionage, love,
Right.
a detective on cocaine. They go to Vegas for a little bit.
Jeez.
I love it.
Wow.
I think it's one of the best movies.
Let's try and check it out. We've been rolling for like a good like hour and a half.
All right.
So you wanna?
Yeah, we can wrap it up.
You know what? I just want to make sure that the camera's rolling because every single time I do the outro, it's never rolling. I'm actually gonna do that. Okay. It would have been fine, but it's switching weighted back here. Okay. So, this has been, was it like the 4th or 5th episode? Fourth. We'll go with 4th. This has been the 4th episode of Untitled Project, the podcast. I remember to turn the camera on this time for the outro. So yeah, I would just like to thank you, Ardinger, for taking time out of your day to come onto the podcast.
Thank you for having me on. I enjoyed our discussions.
Not a problem at all. I did too. I would like to thank my grandparents for allowing this to happen at this location that we're at. And I would like to thank you, the person who is either watching and or listening to this, for taking time out of your day to sit there and listen to us talk about whatever the hell this was.
All right. Have a great day. Sincerely, Shane.
There it is. Right, that's the ending.
Mm-hmm. That's my sign-off on my podcast, I think. Sincerely.